Shido is an average useless dude. His daily routine is playing with his phone all day like most of y'all watching this video. But one day, Japan gets hit by a crazy disaster, a huge earthquake that wasn't natural at all. Turns out, this earthquake was caused by mysterious beings called spirits. And these spirits can wipe out a whole city in seconds. But plot twist, Shido isn't just some useless dude. He actually has a weird hidden power. He can defeat these spirits by kissing them. Yeah, I know sounds like a dream job for every lonely dude out there. The story starts with Japan already suffering from non-stop disasters. These events are called spacequakes, and whatever gets caught in them is pretty much toast. Meanwhile, our boy Shido is living his usual boring life. He's getting woken up in the morning by his little sister, Kotori. And she's not just any sister, she's the bossy type. Kotori keeps nagging Shido to go hang out with her at a cafe after school. While watching the news, they hear about the latest spacequake that destroyed half a city, but Shido doesn't care much. Man's got school to attend. Later on, while walking to school with Kotori, she reminds him to meet her at the cafe after school no matter what. Shido just agrees without thinking much. At school, he's greeted by his classmates like usual, but suddenly a mysterious girl named Origami calls out his name. Shido's confused because he's never seen her before. Origami looks super serious, almost like she's been watching him for a while. Soon after, the teacher comes in and starts introducing herself. Turns out, Shido just got into a new class, so it makes sense that he doesn't know everyone yet, especially mysterious girls like Origami. Out of nowhere, the whole school gets hit with a wild news. A massive earthquake is about to wreck the city. Everyone at school goes into full-on panic mode, prepping for evacuation. Shido has his mind on his sister Kotori because he promised they'd meet up at the cafe after school. Shido starts freaking out, thinking Kotori might be chilling at the cafe waiting for him. Without a second thought, he bolts from the evacuation zone like he's in an action movie. Just then, a spacequake hits and levels dozens of houses around him. In all that chaos, a girl in purple armor shows up right where everything's blowing up. She looks straight at Shido and thinks he's there to take her down or something. Before he can explain that he's just an average, useless high school dude, some badass female soldiers show up and start going after Purple Armor Girl. One of those soldiers is Origami, Shido's classmate, which adds to his confusion. The fight between Origami's squad and Purple Armor Girl escalates dramatically. In all that madness though, an explosion knocks Shido out cold. When he wakes up again, he finds himself in this super high-tech place called Ratatosker HQ, and it turns out it's run by his sis Kotori. Seeing how lost Shido looks prompts Kotori to break it down for him. Every time these crazy quakes happen, powerful spirit girls pop up causing mayhem everywhere they go, and they need his help to stop them from doing more damage. Those lady warriors led by Origami are part of an elite anti-spirit team backed by the government meant specifically for taking down these spirits. Kotori explains that the goal of Ratatosker is to save all the spirits that appear so they don't get wiped out by the anti-spirit teams backed by the government. They really need Shido's help, but first, he has to go through some special training to calm down these spirits when they show up. The training kicks off with something called Date, where Shido learns how to invite spirits out on dates. Spirits are actually a lot like humans, they have feelings too. So, Shido needs to manage their emotions and use his dating skills to make them feel at ease. After 10 days of intense training, another earthquake hits, and it's time for Shido to put his dating techniques into action. Meanwhile, Origami and her anti-spirit team are busy hunting down any spirits that pop up. This means Shido has to act fast with his date technique. When he finally meets the spirit princess, she sees him as a threat and almost attacks him. But thanks to all that practice over the past week, Shido tries using his charm on her with some smooth lines. After a few awkward attempts, he manages to get her talking and even gives her a name, Toka. Hearing her new name from someone who actually wants to chat makes Toka super happy. But just when things start looking good, the anti-spirit team shows up armed and ready for action, starting an attack on Toka right away. Seeing this unfold pushes Shido into high gear as he quickly invites Toka out on a date. Unfortunately for them both, Origami returns with her squad determined to take down Toka again, which leads to yet another explosion causing chaos around them. The next day, when Shido goes back looking for Toka from afar, she appears again wanting him to go on a date while using her powers so she can look like an average high school girl. Their date turns out amazing because Kotori had everything planned using Ratatosker's tech wizardry. She created an entire artificial city just for their perfect outing together. While there, Toka feels overjoyed because it's her first time tasting delicious Japanese food. Plus, Shido starts teaching her little things so she can blend in better with humans without realizing Origami is still secretly tailing them. Long story short, Toka and Shido are out on their date. They end up at one of those claw machines. You know the ones, where you spend like 20 bucks just to win a stuffed toy worth 2. Toka spots this cute plushie she absolutely has to have. Shido steps up, using his mad skills, or maybe just dumb luck, to snag that doll for her. Toka is over the moon, practically swooning over Shido now. It's like he just became her personal hero in an anime series. By the time they're chilling at the park later on, it's clear Toka is head over heels. As night falls and it's time for them to part ways, Toka drops a bombshell. She might have to go back to her scary home dimension. Turns out, if she sticks around on Earth, she'll keep causing earthquakes. Shido begs her to stay, promising she won't be lonely anymore. Toka's heart melts faster than ice cream on a hot summer day. But just when things are getting all lovey-dovey, guess who pops up? Origami with a sniper rifle. She takes aim at Toka, but Shido, being the knight in shining armor, pushes Toka out of the way and takes the bullet himself. Toka is understandably furious. She goes full-on Super Saiyan, transforming back into her spirit princess form and hunting down Origami like it's a Black Friday sale. Origami, realizing she just shot the guy she secretly likes, is filled with regret. But, plot twist, Shido's not dead. Turns out he's immortal thanks to some Ratatosker tech. He rushes to Toka's side, but it's too late. Her power is out of control, and she can't stop it. Shido remembers his final dating technique, the kiss. Because when all else fails, there's always kissing, right? So, he kisses Toka, and miraculously, her powers get sealed away. Just like that, problem solved. You can try it, guys. A few days later, on his way to school, Shido accidentally bumps into a mysterious girl at a shrine. When he finally reaches school, something unexpected happens. Origami, the school's star student, suddenly apologizes to Shido for yesterday's incident. As an apology gift, she gives him some chocolate cookies. Seeing this, Toka gets insanely jealous and refuses to be outdone, starting a full-on cookie war with Origami. When Shido returns home, he faces a new reality check. Every spirit he seals will temporarily live at his house. This is a first for Shido, living with multiple girls under one roof. The situation gets even more awkward when bedtime rolls around and he accidentally touches Toka's melons while they're forced to share a bed. Bro's living every anime protagonist's dream and nightmare simultaneously. The next day in class, Shido once again witnesses Toka and Origami fighting over him. Those two have more beef than a Texas barbecue. But before long, a new problem emerges. An earthquake hits their city. Realizing the danger, Shido tells Toka to evacuate and hide while he handles the situation using his date technique. This earthquake brings with it another spirit girl, the same one Shido met at the shrine earlier. According to their analysis, this spirit doesn't seem particularly dangerous. Even when attacked by the anti-spirit squad, she doesn't fight back at all. Seeing this, Shido wants to save her, and with Ratatosker's help, he rushes to her location. When they meet, Shido learns the spirit's name is Yoshino, but as he tries to help her, Yoshino accidentally falls, resulting in an unplanned kiss between them. Unfortunately, Toka witnesses this whole scene while searching for Shido. Seeing him kiss another girl makes her furious and jealous. In her anger, Toka grabs Yoshino's puppet. This enrages Yoshino, who summons a massive puppet in response. Feeling cornered by the anti-spirit team, Yoshino escapes using her giant puppet, accidentally dropping her beloved small puppet in the process. The next day, it's raining non-stop. On his way to school, Shido runs into Yoshino again, who's desperately searching for her lost puppet. Seeing her distress, Shido promises to help find it. He invites Yoshino to take shelter at his house because of the rain and notices she's hungry after searching all day. Shido then remembers yesterday's kiss and realizes Yoshino's powers weren't sealed. Understanding what needs to be done, he invites Yoshino for another kiss to properly seal her out-of-control powers. But just as they're about to kiss, Toka shows up and catches them in the act. Toka's jealousy hit peak levels, like someone binge-watching a soap opera. Meanwhile, Katori, basically the group's detective, tracked Yoshino's missing doll straight to Origami's house. Apparently, Origami grabbed it after the last battle, claiming she found it. Shido tried to sneak into Origami's place while she was showering, but of course, she finished early. Instead, she hit him with her tragic backstory. Her family died in an earthquake years ago, fueling her hatred for spirits. Shido listened the story like it was a 10-part TikTok drama series he accidentally binge-watched at 3 a.m. Then Yoshino lost it. Her anger sparked another earthquake, and the anti-spirit squad showed up, ready to take her down. Yoshino fought back by summoning a giant demon doll the size of a building. Shido rushed to return her toy, but the squad kept interrupting like persistent flies. Toka finally stepped in, distracting them with her energy. Kotori warned Shido to stay back because Yoshino was basically a walking blizzard at this point. But Shido, armed with main character confidence, charged forward anyway. He tossed Yoshino her doll and sealed her powers with a kiss so awkward it somehow worked. Yoshino blushed like she'd been caught liking a cringe meme. After yesterday's battle to seal Yoshino's powers, the anti-spirit team received new news. They were visited by a young girl named Mana, a Special Forces member sent to the Anti-Spirit Academy to assist them. Recently, earthquakes and spirits had been appearing frequently, and despite being a junior, Mana possessed extraordinary abilities. She had already defeated dozens of spirits with her skills, while most kids her age are still crying over math homework. Meanwhile, in Shido's class, a new student named Kurumi arrived, a girl who claimed to be a spirit. Hearing this naturally made Shido curious about Kurumi. Suddenly, Kurumi invited Shido to tour several places around the school as an introduction. However, Shido remembered Kurumi's earlier statement about being a spirit and asked her again if it was true. Kurumi confirmed she was indeed a spirit and explained she came to the school to meet Shido. Upon hearing this, Kotori urged Shido to try flirting with Kurumi, but instead, Shido ended up being teased by Kurumi. By late afternoon, Kurumi prepared to leave school. However, on her way home, she encountered several men who tried to harass her. Instead of showing fear, Kurumi said she wanted to do some fun exercise with them. Hearing such bold words from a high school girl, the men eagerly agreed, but screams soon erupted as Kurumi slaughtered them. Not long after, Mana arrived and saw Kurumi had killed those men. A shocking fact was then revealed. Mana, a member of the anti-spirit team, was actually Shido's biological sister, while Kotori was merely his adopted sister. Enraged, Kotori argued with Mana and even demanded Shido choose his favorite sister between them. With another girl now in the household, Shido grew increasingly confused, and to make matters worse, he couldn't remember anything about Mana, his own biological sister. The next day during roll call, Kurumi was absent, but suddenly she appeared at the classroom door, startling Origami. Shortly after, Shido was summoned by Reina, where they discovered footage of Kurumi slaughtering the men who had tried to do some fun exercise with her. Before long, Mana suddenly attacked Kurumi, leaving Shido even more bewildered. During break time, Origami quickly confronted Kurumi, asking why she was still alive after being killed by Mana the previous evening. Kurumi calmly replied that she was a special immortal spirit, making it impossible for her to be killed. Kurumi also said that her purpose for being at the school was only to meet Shido. It seems Kurumi has some intentions toward Shido. The next morning, Shido met Kurumi and immediately asked her out on a date. As it turned out, Kotori had planned to counter Kurumi's immense spiritual power. Hearing Shido's invitation, Kurumi became very happy with Shido, but soon Origami arrived, seemingly wanting to tell Shido something. Shido ignored her, even though Origami wanted to warn him that Kurumi was actually a spirit or a very evil person. When school ended, Tuka noticed Shido seemed burdened and invited him to do fun exercise together. Luckily, Shido's mind was still safe, and his anaconda remained asleep. Tuka then asked Shido out on a date the next day, despite him already having plans with Kurumi. To make things worse, Origami suddenly called Shido, also asking him out on a date the next day. Knowing this, Shido grew increasingly stressed because he had to juggle 3 dates with 3 girls at once the next day. If he refused, a huge fight would break out, and there was a chance Tuka would get angry again if he rejected her. Seeing Shido's struggle, Kotori began organizing Shido's schedule so he could date all 3 girls on the same day using her plan. Shido started the 3 dates in one day. Even though he tried lying repeatedly, Origami and Tuka eventually began to realize something was off about the dates. Meanwhile, during his date with Kurumi, a bored Kurumi wandered toward the forest. There, she spotted a group of young men bullying a cat. Seeing this, Kurumi said she wanted to join the fun. However, once she joined, she brutally shot all the men, a scene accidentally witnessed by Shido. Realizing her identity was exposed, Kurumi used her powers to restrain Shido as he tried to flee. Just as Kurumi was about to attack him, Mana arrived just in time, using her combat abilities to kill Kurumi on the spot. Seeing this, Shido asked Mana why she killed Kurumi. Mana explained that Kurumi was an extremely dangerous spirit with a unique ability to revive herself after every death. Witnessing such an evil spirit firsthand traumatized Shido, to the point where he recoiled when Toka tried to check his injured hand. Noticing Shido's inner turmoil, Toka kindly invited him to their planned nighttime date. The next day, when Shido confronted Kurumi again, he declared he would save her and seal her powers. Enraged, Kurumi unleashed a domain expansion, a space where her right eye drains the lifespan and time of anyone inside. She finally revealed her true motive, to steal Shido's immortality, allowing her to stop killing humans. Yet Shido stubbornly insisted he'd save her no matter what, even if it meant being devoured or stripped of his power, but only if Kurumi dismantled the domain she'd created at the school. After hearing Shido's motivational words, slowly but surely, Kurumi's heart began to change and become good. But suddenly, a terrifying right hand emerged from Kurumi's body. It turned out the Kurumi currently in front of Shido wasn't the real one, just a clone. Then surprisingly, the real Kurumi appeared, but just as she was about to absorb Shido's power, Mana swiftly cut off Kurumi's hand and tried to save her brother. But this time, Mana's opponent was the real Kurumi. Using her clock eye technique, Kurumi summoned a giant clock that could stop time. With her pistol's power, Kurumi easily defeated Mana right then. Soon after, Toka and Origami, who had regained consciousness, entered Kurumi's domain and tried to help Shido. But with her immense power, Kurumi created many clones of herself to fight both Toka and Origami at once. Kurumi even showed off a bit by demonstrating her enormous power. She could create spatial earthquake disasters using just her abilities. But shockingly, this spatial disaster that nearly destroyed the city was deflected by someone who turned out to be Kotori. A new fact was revealed. All this time, Kotori actually possessed incredibly powerful spirit energy in her body. So strong was she that Kotori managed to corner Kurumi using her power. However, seeing Kotori using spirit power made Shido realize that this Kotori wasn't the real Kotori. Shido realized that Kotori had lost control because of her immense power. Seeing Kotori about to kill Kurumi, Shido tried to protect Kurumi with his own body. This act made Kotori snap out of the influence of her spirit power. After the incident, Reina told Shido to meet Kotori and talk to her. When they met, Kotori explained that she'd been hiding her true form from Shido. Unlike other spirits, Kotori was once a normal child. But when she was 5 years old, she suddenly transformed into a terrifying spirit, the fire spirit. After learning Kotori was a spirit, Reina asked Shido to take her on a date to seal her power. The next day, Shido and Reina started a new mission. Shido had to date Kotori until he could seal her immense power. If they failed, Kotori might become a true spirit forever and never be Shido's little sister again. But for this mission, Shido had to bring Toka and Yoshino to protect him. Before the date began, the vice captain of Ratatos shared new information. Kotori had actually been possessed by a mysterious fire spirit since she was 5 years old. Hearing this made Shido even more worried about his sister. In short, the date between Shido and Kotori was about to begin. However, since Kotori was once his little sister, it made it hard for Shido to make Kotori fall in love with him. But at one point, when Shido went to the bathroom, he accidentally overheard a conversation between Kotori and Reini. To suppress the spirit power inside her, Kotori had used dozens of injections to hold back her strength. Hearing this made Shido even sadder, and he vowed to save his sister again. Meanwhile, Origami seemed to be plotting something using the strongest armor in the anti-spirit team. Sure enough, during Shido and Kotori's date at a park, Origami suddenly appeared and fired a laser from her new suit. It turned out Origami had realized Kotori was the fire spirit, the spirit she'd been searching for all along. In the past, before witnessing her parents turn to ash, Origami had seen a spirit with fire power. Since Kotori revealed herself as the fire spirit, Origami suspected Kotori might be the one who killed her parents. A battle between Kotori and Origami began, but Kotori lost control of herself and managed to defeat Origami. Seeing Kotori now fully out of control, Shido tried to stop them, but it seemed Origami was determined to kill Kotori. Before that could happen, Toka and Yoshino arrived to help Shido distract Origami. After getting the chance, Shido quickly kissed Kotori to seal her spirit power inside his own body. After the kiss, Origami managed to defeat Toka and Yoshino. But when Origami tried to shoot Kotori, Shido shouted that the fire spirit was now sealed inside him, and if Origami wanted revenge, she'd have to shoot him instead. Hearing this, Origami grew confused and soon collapsed, unable to handle the strain of her armor's power. In short, after the chaos, Kotori became Shido's little sister again, and Shido successfully sealed half of her power. Now, Shido is basically a harem king because his house is full of spirits ready to Netflix and chill with him. Alright, that's it for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next chapter, only here on Dem Recaps. Appreciate y'all for real. Love you guys.